Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel right with you here on a Thursday. Still watching for 3 more days of rain and storm potential. Looking at yesterday in Charleston, we missed the rain yesterday, a break. Month to date, we're at 5.07 inches of rain for August at this point. Almost 3.5 inches above average. That 507 is our third wettest August to date on record. The year to date is below average for precip by over 3 inches. Looking at over the last 5 days, that 3.27 inches we got on Tuesday, that's one of our heavier one-day totals in the month of August. And we have flood watches out today and tomorrow for a lot of us. Find your spot on the map if you're in the green, including Charleston. Flood watches are out until 8 a.m. tomorrow, except far southern areas, the Bluefield area. I see your flood watches out until 8 a.m. today, but I'll check for updates too. As I'm still timing multiple rounds of rain for the next 3 days, that could be heavy or excessive at times. There is short-term uncertainty on the exact location of some of these rainers. We do have a marginal to slight risk for isolated to widely scattered flash flooding possible today and tonight. West in like the Cincinnati to Indianapolis area, there's a moderate risk out there. Slight risk for us expands eastward Friday into Friday night. There's also a marginal risk out west, including Huntington, of isolated severe storms that are possible. Large hail and damaging winds. Fly Saver forecast, it starts at home. New York City, high of 86. Watching for potentially strong isolated severe weather out there today. For northern areas, from Panhandle to Panhandle, low to mid-80s. Some warm and humid conditions out there in the state too. Chance of showers and storms. Some 70s, low 80s up in the high elevations. Eastern Panhandle, mid to upper 80s today. Across our central areas, watching for a chance of showers and storms later this afternoon. And southern areas likely missing the morning round, but a slight chance of showers and storms. Chances off and on through about Saturday. A break on Sunday, highs near 90, and then showers and storms likely again on Monday.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
We'll have the latest on the Greenbrier ownership saga coming up. Brad McElhinny will have the details. More on flock cameras, TANF, and Air Force One switcheroo. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios. We are underway.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the MetroNews Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set line up link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q Dave and TJ. You're on. MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Welcome to the program. Say good morning to all of our great radio affiliates in and around the state of West Virginia, or if you're watching on the Metro News TV app, Facebook Live, and YouTube. We appreciate all of you letting us be part of your day. You can be part of this show. 800-765-TALK is the phone number. You can text the show, 304-TALK-304. We'll have some open lines toward the end of the second hour this morning. We'll open things up, get your thoughts on any number of issues. Coming up as we get the show rolling over the next couple of hours, Kanawha County Delegate Kayla Young will stop by. We'll talk to Kayla about a couple of issues, including her thoughts on the recently completed interim meetings, TANF school clothing voucher program, etc., etc. Delegate Geno Chiarelli will join us in the second hour. Also, Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern. A couple of things to talk to Jared about. Developments at the White House. The press secretary is headed out at the end of the month, and a lot of people talking about what I like to call the old switcheroo with Air Force One and the president leaving Turkey several weeks ago. So we'll get into all of that, and we need to we need to draw a line. There needs to be a delineation here when we're talking about flock cameras and the conversation around constitutionality, protecting rights, enabling law enforcement to have the tools to do their jobs. But we need to draw a line with this conversation. We'll explain as the show unfolds. Say good morning, TJ Meadows, down in the Charleston and Kanawha Insurance Studios this morning. Good morning, sir.
Who hasn't pulled the old switcheroo when in Turkey? I mean, who hasn't been there?
Am I the only one? I can't be the only one that thinks that is really cool, that the Secret Service is so good at what it does. In plain sight, they were able to move him and several others off the plane, and nobody knew it. Well done.
Well done. I really regret this statement. It is not going to do anything to improve my man card status here on the show, but, Taylor Swift does it all the time.
Well, you are a Swiftie, from what I understand.
Seriously, that's how she gets on and off the stage. They're rolling some card up there. I mean, and everybody's like, it's Taylor Swift.
But I think it's all. Look, I thought it was really cool. I've seen others that are really freaked out. I just thought it was really cool. Secret Service pulled this off. Nobody knew about it.
Nobody knew about it. Used the press. Used the White House press corps as a decoy. Kudos.
That's exactly what we are in media. We're just decoys. Use them as bait.
Yeah.
All right. Breaking news this morning. More developments with the Greenbrier ownership saga. We have termed it as the Greenbrier turns. It looks like a financing deal could be done, but could the casino be closed? And now the lottery has weighed in as well. MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny has been following all of the developments. He joins us on MetroNews Talkline this morning. Brad, good morning.
Good morning. This standing element of MetroNews Talkline has sometimes been called as the Greenbrier turns. Mm-hmm. And today I reflect, does turning indicate an oscillation, like a fan? And is something hitting that fan? Can we identify it this morning?
That is a very real possibility. Okay, let's walk through this. We'll go chronologically, Brad. With the filing yesterday in federal court, of course, I think everybody knows the background here. Omni Hotels, White Sulphur Springs Holdings, they've called the lien. They want to be paid. The Justice family of businesses has financing through Kennedy, and there was a new filing in court. Okay, that's the short setup. Brad, what was the filing?
Well, first I owe a mea culpa to TJ because he asked me maybe a week ago or so, is the casino in danger? Something like that. And I said, no, because no matter what the outcome here, whether the Greenbrier winds up in a joint venture between the justices and Kennedy Lewis, they're going to want this casino because it represents financial value. Or if it winds up in the hands of the Omni affiliate, White Sulphur Springs Holdings, still going to be okay. I hadn't accounted on my wind speed for what happens if nothing occurs. And that's what's happening now. For the Greenbrier to complete this $500 million financial deal, one of the hurdles has been for West Virginia Lottery to examine and sign off on a change to the gaming license. And that's required because what the justices are proposing is a joint venture with Kennedy Lewis. Today's letter actually says Kennedy Lewis having 51% of the stake in the operation there. So Lottery has to do this financial review. They've taken a few weeks. They contend they haven't gotten the full amount of information required to judge the matter. Meanwhile, there's a ticking clock in court with U.S. District Judge Frank Volk having said, you've got until last Friday, August 7th, to complete this deal. That time came and went. And at this point, the justices are pushing their chips to the center of the table, so to speak. They're saying, all right, well, we're going to have to complete this deal without the casino license. And we're going to shut it down, shut the casino down. They say that employees have been given a WARN notice, which would provide their pay and benefits for a 2-month period. But, really, really running a risky operation here by saying we're going to complete this financial deal, whether we've got a casino or not.
So a couple of things, Brad. I ran in here at like 10:05 and 30 seconds because I had been on the phone and I haven't had a chance to talk with you and Dave. But I was speaking with Senator Vince Deeds and Senator Woodrum. And they tell me that Kennedy Lewis released the money last night to the justices. And I think you're reporting about Kennedy Lewis being listed as 51%. They're in control. And if they release the money and they want the resort and the money's there to do the payoff, that tells me they're willing to take the risk and go now without the casino. So I don't think this is a bluff. And I think this is more a directive of Kennedy Lewis than probably the Justice Administration if they're in control and they want to lock up the asset. So I think it very much puts the onus, right or wrong, correct, incorrect, who's to blame, who cares. 90 people now, their jobs are at stake. And I think Kennedy Lewis is willing to roll. I don't think this is a bluff. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I have at 10:14 this morning.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I take this filing to be an explanation to the judge. Why are we not getting it done? But B, pressure on West Virginia Lottery and by extension, the Morrissey administration to move ahead with this approval. If the casino were to close, but the Greenbrier potentially, if it were to proceed under new ownership, a joint agreement between the justices and Kennedy Lewis Investment Management, could that entity then come back to Lottery belatedly to receive, to pursue and receive an okay on operating a casino in West Virginia? That potentially would be a more solid financial situation. It may be easier to prove their case after the fact. Nevertheless, we're in a really messy situation right now with the justices and by extension Kennedy Lewis saying they're going to close this by tomorrow. And the final dangler out there is this latest status report by the Greenbrier filed by their lawyers. They allege that the other side of this, White Sulphur Springs Holdings, the Omni affiliate, they allege that they're slow walking it, dragging their feet. And that's another to complete a financial transaction, you have to have another entity on the other end willing to accept the money. And that so far hasn't happened.
And the lottery responds this morning, Brad, with a letter that goes out. So there are like 3, 4, 5 different angles here. You're trying to view this from, getting everybody's perspective and trying to put together what exactly is going on.
It is a mess. The oscillating fan we are experiencing has some disturbance that is clouding our vision. But this is I posted this letter in my story and on social media, and it is a 3-page detailed letter from West Virginia Lottery, saying that this is the first time we've heard that the casino is at risk of closure if this deal doesn't get done, indicating that they feel like they're under undue pressure because they have a responsibility to assess these finances in a serious and complete manner. And then saying that, to rush this would be potentially in violation of the West Virginia open meetings law. This 3-page letter concludes by saying, we will not be pressured to ignore this law by anyone, regardless of status. So, Lottery is saying that it's being responsible and cannot be rushed on this matter.
So, Brad, you're one of the most reasonable people that I know. So let's run this and see if it holds water or not. I don't really care about the Justice family right now. I don't really care about Kennedy Lewis, the Omni, the Morrissey administration, the Lottery Commission. 90 people who are average Joes that are trying to have enough money at the end of the month could potentially lose their jobs. That is very important when we are losing people in West Virginia. We have many people on the dole. It would seem prudent that we could do what we need to do to be able to save those jobs. If that's a provisional license or something, fine. Number 2, revenue. We don't have enough of it. Money solves a lot of problems, especially the problems that we have in West Virginia. When we are bleeding and trying to get more revenue, I'm told it's something in the area of $10 million a year plus whatever the online gaming would be. It would seem that we would want to take whatever measures that we need to do to protect that particular revenue stream. provisional license, let them keep it open, let Kennedy Lewis apply once they take ownership at the end of the weekend, however quick this is executed. I mean, it just seems to me that there's something that could be done here for average people that are involved. Forget the corporate entities, forget the government entities, and try to work for the common man on this one. Maybe I'm off.
I mean, I don't think you are, but I think those 90 regular people who are employed and receive health benefits, they are the ones who are being used as leverage. And the message is, if you want to retain these jobs, you will expedite this deal, West Virginia Lottery. I will say that in a statement this morning, the Greenbrier and its representatives said casino employees are being provided WARN notices, that's a layoff notice, and will continue to receive pay and benefits during the 60-day notice period. Nevertheless, if you're one of those 90 people and you make your living that way, and if you are provided health insurance that way, you're living not knowing what is hanging over you. And that's a difficult way to live. And what I can't quite envision yet is, are they saying that the casino would go dark as of right now, while those employees continue to receive pay and benefits? I just don't have a full understanding of quite where that detail lies.
And guys, I'm stating the obvious here. And Brad, your exemption applies here. But TJ, I don't care for this type of leverage in negotiations where you are dealing with people's jobs, their financial security, their livelihoods, and you are using that as a piece of leverage, either A, to put pressure on the Lottery Commission, or if there's other outside pressures, to put pressure on the other side. These people just want to get up and go to work every day.
Yeah.
To use them as leverage, it makes me itch. I don't find that kosher, as they say. And I don't care if it's Omni, White Sulphur Springs Holdings, the Justice family businesses, or if there's other political pressure being applied here from within the state. Don't care for it.
I get that. And I don't want to hold their water necessarily, but let me offer this counterpoint.
Sure.
If you're Kennedy Lewis and you want this, and clearly you want it, I mean, this is what they do. They go in and they take over distressed assets, and it's how they make their money. If they didn't want it, they would have punted. And Omni would have ended up with it at some point. So clearly they want it. If they believe that they can make it a go without the casino, and they believe they shut it down temporarily, and then to Brad's point, they try to go to the Lottery Commission and work with the Lottery Commission and get it open under their management, that the federal judge, Judge Volk, his patience are wearing thin. So I think the reality here is if they buy this and they don't have the proper transferability from the Lottery Commission, I mean, it kind of happens by default. Yes, could it be painted as leverage with these press releases? I'm not denying that. But it's going to happen one way or the other. And I don't think they're going to pass on this deal or let the federal court tell them, time's up, sorry, you couldn't get it done. They're not going to do that because they're risk takers anyway. They buy distressed assets.
So let me pose this question. Again, Brad, your exemption always applies here as our voice of reason, but who's really calling the shots at this point? Is it Kennedy Lewis that's calling the shots, or the Justice family businesses?
You want to go first, Brad?
I think the hot issue on the table is what's happening in court. So probably the lawyers is my answer, actually.
Good answer, Brad. Good answer. But you get my point. If you're Kennedy Lewis and you're investing this money, you want to acquire this, as you said, you want this asset. Are you the one back here going, here's how we're going to approach this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's always a controlling party in any deal. Who papered this deal? Whose lawyers wrote this deal? I guarantee you it was Kennedy Lewis. I guarantee they had first draft, and the justice side got to have any red lines, perhaps. But there's always a controlling party, even in the interest, and who's calling the shots. And it's the entity bringing the money. So, yes, I think it's Kennedy Lewis.
One last question. Is this one of those things we get all worked up about on Thursday, and by Monday they have it all sorted out?
I think we've been waiting for it to be sorted out all summer long. So I would not doubt that as the Greenbrier turns, has additional twists that could lead into the fall.
I hope so, for the sake of the 90 people. I mean, to Brad's point, that's a heck of a way to live, even with Warren and even with the 60 days, which is commendable. It's a heck of a way to live if that's how you make your living, and you're like, I deal blackjack. I'm great at it. I make a good living at it. But if the Greenbrier's not open, where do I go?
Right. You can read Brad McElhinny's story right now over at the website, WVMetroNews.com. Brad, 60 seconds. You covered state school board yesterday. Give us the Cliff Notes version. We can get the details of the website.
Oh, well, a running story in the state school system is that county after county after county has been taken over. And I think you can judge that two ways. One is that the state board is doing its due diligence and enforcing responsibility on these counties. But the other way of looking at that, the flip side, is there are a lot of counties that are non-responsive on their own end to that due diligence. And so anyway, three more discussed yesterday. Wyoming County, which is going to be in a state of emergency and a potential takeover. Marion County, which is being placed on an action plan. And then Logan County, which is still facing challenges after being taken over last year. But that's in addition to others. And, I leave that to the listeners. Are so many West Virginia counties not living up to their responsibility that the state school board has had an unusual number of takeovers? Or is the state school board actually doing a pretty good job of enforcing responsibility on counties, or both?
Metro News statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny. Read his stories from the state school board and the latest one as the Greenbrier turns over at WVMetroNews.com. Brad, always appreciate it. Thanks for playing along.
Hey, thanks.
Take a break. Back in a moment. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Are you ready to reach the finish line of retirement? At the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group, we provide comprehensive guidance for retirement planning in West Virginia. With years of experience, we'll draft a plan tailored for your unique goals. Whether you're just starting or nearing retirement, we make the process as simple as possible, easy, and stress-free. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike to set up a complimentary consultation and get started on your plan today. Let's work toward your dream retirement together.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart. Only on Metro News Television.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better. And I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Kanawha GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Kanawha GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
304 Talk 304, that is the text line. Delegate Kayla Young going to join us a couple of minutes from now. 800-765-TALK, 304 Talk 304. I got bad news for you, TJ. Bad news.
What's that?
You did not win the Powerball.
Well, I didn't play. So there's that.
A single winning ticket sold in Quincy, Illinois. $1.04 billion.
Billion.
Would you take the... I know you're not a lottery guy, but
do you have
would you
to
take
ask?
You would take the lump sum, right?
Absolutely.
Index funds?
Index funds, brother. All the way. 8 days a week.
I don't even know why I asked the question now.
Yeah, 8 days a week. Hey, winner, if you're out there listening in Illinois, give me a call free of charge. I'll tell you what you need to do. Want to see you continue to be wealthy and not be Jack Whitaker.
I hear we're huge in Quincy, Illinois. Yeah. Let me get a couple of texts here quickly. 304 Talk 304. Omni, owned with Jim as a minority owner, would have been best case for everyone. The casino will open. Relax, says the texter. Possibly the New York investors holding 51% of Greenbrier. They may have a backdoor interested party. That's why they're pushing this. Delegate Kayla Young will join us. Coming up next, this is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It is 10:30, time for a news update from the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The owners of the Greenbrier Resort, U.S. Senator Jim Justice and family, are threatening to close the casino there. Go ahead with a new $500 million.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel right with you here on a Thursday. Still watching for 3 more days of rain and storm potential. Looking at yesterday in Charleston, we missed the rain yesterday, a break. Month to date, we're at 5.07 inches of rain for August at this point. Almost 3.5 inches above average. That 507 is our third wettest August to date on record. The year to date is below average for precip by over 3 inches. Looking at over the last 5 days, that 3.27 inches we got on Tuesday, that's one of our heavier one-day totals in the month of August. And we have flood watches out today and tomorrow for a lot of us. Find your spot on the map if you're in the green, including Charleston. Flood watches are out until 8 a.m. tomorrow, except far southern areas, the Bluefield area. I see your flood watches out until 8 a.m. today, but I'll check for updates too. As I'm still timing multiple rounds of rain for the next 3 days that could be heavy or excessive at times, there is short-term uncertainty on the exact location of some of these rainers. We do have a marginal to slight risk for isolated to widely scattered flash flooding possible today and tonight. West in like the Cincinnati to Indianapolis area, there's a moderate risk out there. Slight risk for us expands eastward Friday into Friday night. There's also a marginal risk out west, including Huntington, of isolated severe storms that are possible. Large hail and damaging winds. Fly saver forecast, it starts at home. New York City, high of 86. Watching for potentially strong isolated severe weather out there today. For northern areas, from Panhandle to Panhandle, low to mid 80s. Some warm and humid conditions out there in the state too. Chance of showers and storms. Some 70s, low 80s up in the high elevations. Eastern Panhandle, mid to upper 80s today. Across our central areas, watching for a chance of showers and storms later this afternoon. And southern areas likely missing the morning round, but a slight chance of showers and storms. Chances off and on through about Saturday. A break on Sunday, highs near 90. And then showers and storms likely again on Monday.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Hey, I take offense of that.
Why would you do that? Because on midday, the last segment, the first thing I hear when those mics go on is you just coughing, and I'm just like, this guy.
You don't appreciate me giving that show a little ratings boost at the end, a little boom boom?
Do you coughing directly onto these microphones? No, I don't want it.
I don't know where this came from.
Everybody.
I'm in another room, guys.
Hey,
I don't know.
everybody.
Hey, Coop,
I'm just watching this.
Hotline on Metro News Television.
You can text us 304-TALK 304 800-765-TALK. That's the phone number, 800-765-8255. Believe it or not, high school football will kick off 2 weeks from today. There are a handful of Thursday night games. One of them is the SSAC Kickoff Classic. Cameron at Clay Battelle. You can watch that on the Metro News TV app. But to watch it, you need to download the Metro News TV app to your smart TV and mobile device. You can watch the Kickoff Classic, this program, and all the other fine offerings from Metro News TV. Download it again, smart TV, mobile device, the Metro News TV app. 800-765-TALK, 304-TALK, 304 is the text line. Interim committee meetings wrapped up a couple of days ago. Lawmakers were in Charleston. A lot of discussion about TANF, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. Also, the school clothing voucher program. Secretary Carl Ayers from Human Services was brought in on Tuesday, was grilled pretty good by that committee. Kanawha County Delegate Kayla Young was there observing, watching all of it. She joins us on Metro News Talkline this morning. Kayla, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Glad you could join us. So let's start with the TANF. We've talked about TANF. We've talked about the school clothing voucher program. Were you satisfied with the answers and explanations that were offered this week?
I mean, no, I thought the new secretary, he's clearly very knowledgeable, which is great because sometimes we have folks that come in and they don't know what they're doing. So he clearly has a pretty good grasp on the job already, which is good to know. But no, I don't think we got a lot of information. It became clear throughout the presentation that the data that they had is unreliable due to the way that kind of the system works. And I thought that they acted like it was going to be this big bombshell to drop this list of retailers that folks were shopping at, but then it turns out that those were all just ATM transactions, which is allowable under law. So no, I don't think any of the members were satisfied.
We talked about this a bit yesterday, Kayla. Dave and I are operating under the understanding that if you put this money into an EBT card, whether it has other benefits on it or not, once it goes on a card, the feds are in control. They say you have to be able to use it at an ATM. I don't hear anybody in the Morrissey administration talking about that. So if it's a federal requirement, what can we really do?
That's correct. It is. And I don't know what we can do other than to like segregate it onto a separate card or something. But even then you'd be able to use it as an ATM purchase. So I don't know what we can do either. It's a reason why this is like, to me, not a problem because it's something that the feds require us to do. So I don't know exactly what a good solution is. I realize there's not a lot of accountability and I don't like that piece of it, but I don't know how we fix it.
And Kayla, and this may be parsing hairs, but I was confused. The school clothing voucher money, the $200, gets loaded onto the EBT card with other EBT funds. So how are we to keep track? Well, that $20 that was taken out the ATM machine at Wanda's bar, whatever it was, that's school clothing voucher money. But the $20 that got taken out at Go Mart, not picking on you, Go Mart, love you, but that $20, well, that was SNAP benefit money, whatever. Can we even parse that out, or is this all going into one pot and it's on the card?
So we did learn that it goes into the pot. It's on one card. They did say that it is scheduled to where the first $200 that comes off after the school clothing voucher money is loaded is considered the school clothing voucher money. People who have the card don't know that, right? Like their child support money's on there, their SNAP money's on there, whatever money's on there. They don't know that, hey, the next transaction you need to make is the school clothing voucher money, which then leads me to wonder how they know how any of that money is spent if they're just counting the first $200 in transactions, right? So it seems ridiculous.
Clearly, we have some problems. I don't think anybody would dispute that. Clearly, PATH can't give us real-time data. I learned yesterday, learned something new every day, that PATH is not an off-the-shelf product. So we didn't go to a corporation like Oracle or Salesforce or some kind of software corporation and buy a solution. We decided in our wisdom it would be great to make our own, which blows my mind. We'll talk about that another day. But, foster parents. And I was talking with a friend last week who fosters. She told me the money goes into her checking account. So
they get checks.
Are we using socioeconomics to cast blame here if we're not also asking hey, foster parents, are you buying beer and cigarettes too? I mean, are we unfairly targeting poor people?
Yeah, I think so. And like, yes, PATH is a problem. I don't think there's any problems within the school clothing voucher program. This all just like came up out of nowhere. We didn't get any proof as to what the problems were, other than there was a complaint, multiple complaints, who knows, into TANF generally as a whole, not even necessarily school clothing vouchers, TANF as a whole, which is why it started late. We didn't get any information onto what that problem was.
Kanawha County Delegate Kayla Young is joining us here on MetroNews Talkline. Like most issues I've covered, whether it's city councils, county commissions, or now you guys at the legislature, part of the problem, and a major part, communication, Kayla. If there's a problem with TANF that needs to be addressed, it needs to be addressed during the budgeting process when you all get back in July. But if there are problems, articulate them, explain it, show your work. Communication will solve a lot of problems, whether it's executive branch, legislative branch, or, at home when you're trying to explain why you bought that bass boat. I did not buy a bass boat, but you get my drift though. Communication is key, and there's a lack of it.
Absolutely, especially if we're the ones in control of the money. You'd think they'd want to talk to us. They get to administer the programs, but if there's an issue, we have to talk about it. And I think we're all very willing to do so, but we need the information. We don't have access to it, and oversight is our job.
I'm going to ask a question. I don't want you to speculate, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask it. House Bill 4191, which changes the way daycare reimbursement happens. In the past, the state did it for those in the state program they're paying for. They did it on attendance. Anyone that's private paying knows they have to do it on enrollment because it's hard for a daycare to make it on attendance. Johnny's sick. Sorry, you still got to pay us because we planned for Johnny to be here. Does that weigh into any of this? Are we leveraging one because we don't like the other, potentially, from the administration's point of view? And I think it's a fair question because Ayers opened the door during the committee meeting talking about that.
I think so. Absolutely. The child care bill took 5 years to get passed. We have been on an enrollment-based model since the pandemic. The entire federal government has. Trump is trying to undo it at this time through federal laws, which is why we codified it to make sure we'd stay at an enrollment basis so we can kind of stabilize child care payments overall. It's not costing any more money right now because we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years, which is why there was no fiscal note to that piece of the bill. But the secretary and the department are not implementing other pieces of the bill. Some of it will take time to do so, but that time has passed already. So yeah, I think that absolutely plays into it. And I think they'll be coming after that program sooner rather than later.
Why? Kind of a rhetorical question to you, Kayla, but why? This was bipartisan legislation. The Chamber of Commerce. And look, we can have the philosophical discussion all day long about should the state be paying you to raise your kids. But this is Realville, where we need workers, we need people in the workforce, we need childcare costs are through the roof. You got to live in Realville a little bit. That's a statement more than a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think childcare is economic development. It makes it so people can go to work. And it also makes sure that those kids are getting, great care where they're learning. It's a learning environment. The first 1,000 days are the most important. So it's an industry that we have deeply underfunded. We actually put in half the amount of state dollars that we did 10 years ago into our childcare system. And the federal number hasn't gone up that much. Ayers mentioned that childcare rates have increased drastically. That's simply not true. The rates are still really low. And childcare is a crazy industry because they can only charge what people can afford. And the rates are very, very high for private pay, even for subsidy, but they can't charge people the actual cost of care because people can't afford it. It's a broken model at a federal level, at a state level. It's difficult. I've been working on solving it for a very long time, and it's hard.
It is hard, and we're not going to solve it here today. I wish we could. I want to transition. You posted yesterday on your X something that caught my eye and frankly, concerns me deeply. Second year in a row, you say, talking about yourself, remain deeply concerned about our state's law enforcement office certification standards. In West Virginia, we don't require training on any particular topic, not ethics, not criminal law, not de-escalation, but we require desks at the academy to have smooth surfaces. I like a good smooth surface as much as the next guy. But with that said, why are we not? So are you telling me that we're not giving officers and requiring training in how to establish probable cause, whether or not someone has obstructed, what violates constitutional and civil rights. Is that what you're saying?
So I'm not saying that that training isn't happening. I'm saying that it's not required or written down anywhere through the state government. So we just say they have to have 850 hours of training, and then the LEPS program at the state police, they're the ones who get to write that rule in the rulemaking process and spell out what that is. So in their rulemaking, which I serve on the rulemaking committee, which is actually where a lot of really great things happen and very few people pay attention to, but West Virginia's got a great rulemaking process, which is, kind of how the sausage actually gets made and spells out procedures. And we have control over that too, which is why it's my favorite committee. But they came before us. They were trying to update their rule because we passed a bill to say that if you work in a school, that can count towards your continuing education hours, because they have to get 16 hours of continuing ed every year. But within that rule, their initial training, the 850 hours, is not spelled out at all. And that deeply bothers me. They get to decide what that training is. They've got a committee that gets to decide what that is, but we don't have any say in it. There's no floor for it. And I hate that.
Back up a second. You said just a second ago, you can't say that training's not going on. Do we not know what the State Police Academy curriculum is? I mean, we know what your kindergarten teacher's curriculum is. Do we not know State Police?
Correct. Yeah, that's right. They have a committee where they get to decide what that training is, and it changes whenever they want to. I'm not sure if it's posted online anywhere. It's really difficult to find these documents, honestly, and I like to dig, but it's not in the rules. And the rules are like where all of that's supposed to live. I mean, they talk about like how big the classrooms have to be. They have to have like natural daylight or be near windows. Like they get really into the nitty gritty of like, if they have food, it has to be prepared. It has to be hot when it's delivered, like really specific things. But when it comes to the curriculum, no specificity at all. They need some room to, as things grow and change, to add or take away courses, but just to not know that there's like a baseline of like, they need to be taught ethics. They need to be taught criminal law. Like that's not in there.
Have you asked the State Police Academy to tell you what constitutes that 850 hours, and have they provided that?
Yeah, I asked them last year, which was my first year on the committee. And then this year I asked them again, because typically these rules are on a 5-year cycle. So I only get to see them every 5 years, but they had an update to theirs. So they came back again and I was like, hey, I noticed you still haven't done that. Like, what's the deal? And we had a pretty contentious conversation yesterday, but they still don't have answers for me.
Kanawha County Delegate Kayla Young. Kayla, always appreciate the conversation. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
We'll get your text coming up, 304-TALK 304. That's the text line, 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. That's the phone number if you'd like to chime in. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. For years, rural communities in West Virginia waited for reliable, high-speed internet. Now, fiber is most likely at your front door. Public investment helped build the opportunity, and CityNet delivered the service to homes and businesses just like yours. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can count on, switching to fiber has never been easier. Fast downloads, smooth streaming, better connections for work, school, and everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure,
we really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
For over 20 years, Kanawha Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Kanawha Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
At Daniels Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniels is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniels.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
304 Talk 304, that is the text line, 800-765-8255, the phone number. Coming up a little bit later, second hour, we'll get into this. Some breaking news this morning from National, CNN reporting. Here's your teaser. Flock, heard of them? Rolling out new police auditing and accountability controls. One thing I've learned from Mr. Meadows, the markets will be heard, and the market sounds like being heard. We'll get into that second hour because I've only read about half of that article so far. But also, we got to draw a line somewhere when we're having this conversation with regard to Flock, Fourth Amendment, constitutional rights, enabling law enforcement to have tools that enable them to go, catch the bad guys. There's a serious part of that conversation where the adults reside, and then there's a not-so-serious part of that conversation. But that coming up in the second hour. 304 Talk 304, the text line. Just a couple of thoughts off that conversation with Delegate Young. And Geno Chiarelli, Monongalia County Delegate, is going to join us at 11:06. Communication. It sounds so simple, TJ, and maybe I'm oversimplifying it. Call me naive if you like. But if you just communicate between branches of government, between legislators, between this department and that department, boy, you avoid a lot of angst and anxiety over some of these issues. You just explain, we think there's fraud and abuse in this program, and here's why. Explain it. Lay it out. Here's our curriculum. Here's what we are training our officers to do. Lay that. 90% it feels like, and I'm just throwing a number out there, it's just about because we either don't want to communicate or there's a lack of communication between person to person, department to department, branch to branch of government, and it is infuriating.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a turf war, if it's a bureaucrats versus legislature kind of thing where, look, you guys are here 60 days. We really run the state. We're the ones that make it happen, or we shouldn't be. I don't know what's going on there, but it would seem to me that if we could all kind of play better in the sandbox, to your point, and just answer questions. And one of the things that I've noticed, I won't point to any particular event in the last couple of weeks because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus unjustly. But what I have seen in the public space is just enough of the truth. So it's like the old adage, if a lawyer asks you, do you know what time it is? The answer should be yes. You don't say, yeah, it's 10 o'clock. You say, yes. There's a lot of that's going on. Just enough to answer the question and hope that the rest doesn't come out. To me, I think it's better up front. And I will point to an example of someone who did do a good job of this, Alistair Whitney, who we had on the show this week. I listened to his testimony that he gave before committee, and I listened on this show. And he said, in full transparency, here is where there could be an issue with what we want to do. Here is what we don't want to do. Here is something that you should also think about. It's not just this. I thought, refreshingly so, I thought he was very transparent and responsible in the argument that he was making and giving the full story and not necessarily just giving the facts that helped his argument. More people need to do that.
You've jumped to the 11:30 segment about having an adult conversation there. But I
guess
get your
I did.
point. That's a great
I guess I
point. Great example. But that's a great example. And that is an old trick, isn't it? Just throw enough out there that's true, but you don't include everything, and people hate vacuums. Nature hates a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you'll fill in the rest. So if you just throw a little bit of information out there, well, again, I'm trying not, like you, trying not to throw anybody under the bus from the last couple of weeks. People will fill in their own thoughts, and those things will take off on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way to do it, guys. Not the way. We can look. We're a small enough state. We can figure most of this stuff out if we really want to. It's not that hard. Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm the naive one.
Well, and let me just say this back to the requirements, what you're trained on and what you're not at the state police. There should be no reason for that to be a secret.
Yeah.
If a citizen calls and asks, hey, I want to know, they should know that we're training on de-escalation or not. They should know that we're training on First Amendment protections or not. The color of law. What is the color of law? How does a law enforcement officer understand that? We should know all of those things. There's no big secret there. I mean, we're not talking about nuclear missile secrets or anything. We're talking about basic training requirements.
We do not trust, as a society, all trust of all institutions is out the window at this point. Mm-hmm. And the only way I see any institution, government institution, public institution, anything, gaining that trust back, transparency. Transparency. Yeah. This is what we are doing. Here's what's going on. Because nobody trusts anybody anymore, right? We don't trust the CDC. We don't trust this. People don't even trust their own local city council, and you literally know the people on that council. The only way you're going to get it back is through transparency. All
yep.
Right. Soapbox number 1, over. We have more to come. 800-765-TALK, 304-TALK, 304. That's the text line. Back in a moment.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
For over 20 years, Kanawha Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Kanawha Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
It's a good thing we got off that soapbox in time. We've reached the end of the first hour. Delegate Geno Chiarelli going to join us. Open lines, bottom of the hour. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel right with you here on a Thursday. Still watching for 3 more days of rain and storm potential. Looking at yesterday in Charleston, we missed the rain yesterday, a break. Month to date, we're at 5.07 inches of rain for August at this point. Almost 3.5 inches above average. That 507 is our third wettest August to date on record. The year to date is below average for precip by over 3 inches. Looking at over the last 5 days, that 3.27 inches we got on Tuesday, that's one of our heavier one-day totals in the month of August. And we have flood watches out today and tomorrow for a lot of us. Find your spot on the map if you're in the green, including Charleston. Flood watches are out until 8 a.m. tomorrow, except far southern areas, the Bluefield area. I see your flood watches out until 8 a.m. today, but I'll check for updates too. As I'm still timing multiple rounds of rain for the next 3 days, that could be heavy or excessive at times. There is short-term uncertainty on the exact location of some of these rainers. We do have a marginal to slight risk for isolated to widely scattered flash flooding possible today and tonight. West in like the Cincinnati to Indianapolis area, there's a moderate risk out there. Slight risk for us expands eastward Friday into Friday night. There's also a marginal risk out west, including Huntington, of isolated severe storms that are possible. Large hail and damaging winds. Fly Saver forecast, it starts at home. New York City, high of 86. Watching for potentially strong isolated severe weather out there today. For northern areas, from Panhandle to Panhandle, low to mid-80s. Some warm and humid conditions out there in the state too. Chance of showers and storms. Some 70s, low 80s up in the high elevations. Eastern Panhandle, mid to upper 80s today. Across our central areas, watching for a chance of showers and storms later this afternoon. And southern areas likely missing the morning round, but a slight chance of showers and storms. Chances off and on through about Saturday. A break on Sunday, highs near 90. And then showers and storms likely again on Monday.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour, Metro News Talkline already in progress. Dave in Morgantown, TJ in Charleston. Gang's all here. Producer Ethan is handling the radio side of things for all you great radio affiliates in and around the great state of West Virginia. And intern Mila handling the video stream this morning under the supervision of Jake Link. 800-765-TALK, that's the phone number, 800-765-8255. You can text the show, 304-TALK-304. That is the text line. We're going to do open lines. Bottom of the hour, get into a couple of subjects. Got to draw a line, or at least I'm drawing a line in this conversation over flock. We'll explain bottom of the hour. Get to your text as well, 304-TALK-304, 800-765-TALK, the phone number. It's buzzing up here in Morgantown today, TJ.
About?
The students are back. It's move-in day.
Okay.
They actually, university did this really smart thing a couple of years ago. I think it's been a couple of years now. If you recall, there was one move-in day and everybody came back, and it was just gridlock around here.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this really smart thing. Say, hey, we're going to assign you a day and a time, and this is when you're supposed to arrive at your dorm to move your stuff in. They give you like an hour, certain amount of time. And then you got to get your car out of there, and the next, family comes in, and they're moving in at 11 o'clock, and somebody else is. It has helped. It hasn't alleviated all of the problems. I mean, hey, there's a lot of people. Let's alleviate a lot of it and made it a lot smoother of a process. But you can tell when the students are back in town, the city buzzes.
Yeah,
this
like
time of year.
Doubles in size or whatever it is.
About 20,000 people who weren't here. And then you add all the families who are in town right now. It's I'm going the other direction. I'm going away from campus when I leave work today.
Well, kudos. That's smart of the university. That's a good policy. I think credit your alma mater, I believe, is where this happened. When they were building the new library way back when, you correct me if you know this to be true or untrue, I believe they refrained from pouring the sidewalks. They waited to see where the kids would walk and what path they would take, and then they poured the sidewalks, and that way the kids stayed off the grass.
I have heard that, but I don't know if that's true or if that's urban legend.
Oh, well,
right.
It sounds good.
It sounds good. I know we've got some Marshall listeners. Y'all let me know. Let us know. Is that true or just urban legend? But yeah, it's fall. School. We're going. Producer Mila. Well, boy, I just promoted her. Intern Mila. She's going to be going back to school soon, TJ. We're going to lose her. Maybe we can get her to stick around. You know what, Mila? Quit school and we'll offer you a full-time gig. Could you hear? I don't know if you could hear him laughing on the other side of the wall there. All right.
We're that bad to work for? People are laughing now. Jeez.
Well, Mila's mother may not be. She might not be on top of that. She might not like that offer. I'm just throwing it out there, TJ. Just throwing it out there.
Mila, here's what I would say. When I was your age, working at the same company, attending WVU, I was a senior. Tony Caridi comes to me and he says, "Are you getting out of here in 4 years?" I said, "Yes." He looked at me and he said, "That's your fault."
Positive influences around the Metro News Radio Network.
Absolutely.
Positive influences. I got an update. She was cheering, not laughing. All right, Mila's quitting school. Going to join our program for full time.
We've righted the world.
We'll let George know later. Joining us in studio, reconsidering his choices in life today, is Monongalia County Delegate Geno Chiarelli. He was part of the committee that was questioning the Secretary of Human Resources or Human Services, Carl Ayers. Also, he had some questions about the story regarding the foster care children, TJ, the lack of reporting on the child deaths within the foster care system. So we brought Geno in this morning to kind of rehash what he learned this week. Hey, Geno, how are you doing, buddy?
Wonderful. Glad to be back from interims. Glad to be back home in Mon County.
Probably after the last 5 minutes going, I probably should have stayed at home today.
There's not many places I'd rather be than right here hanging out in Metro News. I want to come down to the studio to hang out with TJ at some point as well. So, TJ, if I'm in Charleston, give me a shout, okay? Come
Open door policy, buddy. Come on in. Anton will meet you at the front desk with a cup of coffee, and he'll send you back.
Sounds like a plan.
What was your takeaways from interims this year or this month?
Well, one of the things that I noticed is pretty much right off the bat, it was busy. It was really, really busy. All hands on deck for interims. Most of my days were pretty much filled to the brim with, if not a formal committee meeting, I was meeting with somebody. Children's Home Society, I was getting out and meeting a lot of people. I've been trying to look at a lot of the child welfare stuff just because it's been topical, and I used to work for CPS, so getting to see one of their emergency shelters was a really eye-opening and inspiring experience. So it was hustle, bustle, big time, and I think that we learned a lot of information. I think a lot of it is also actionable, and I think that a lot of it has identified a lot of the gaps that we have. We're having a couple issues in a couple areas right now, and I think that if we can't use interims to capitalize on the things that we've learned, I think that they're a waste of time. So interims are the most that we make of them.
So, Geno, one narrative that's out there that I agree with wholeheartedly is that if you do not have data in real time, it is difficult to make decisions. I don't think anyone would argue that. I learned yesterday with some official communication back and forth that apparently I was operating under the incorrect assumption that PATH is a system that we bought from a software company. It's not. I'm told that we decided to get together and hire a company and write code and make a unique system. Can you confirm that, number one? And number two, I mean, do we need to look at throwing good money after bad here? I mean, should we just say, look, this thing failed, we tried. Yes, we've spent, I don't know how much money on it, but we'd be better off to go buy some off-the-shelf system from somebody who actually develops software.
So I've heard the same thing as you, is that this was constructed specifically for us. I think that any further dollars thrown at PATH is a complete waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a wasted investment. There's no real-time data tracking. It's all this post after the fact, batch processing. All the data is late. I'm told that you can't even figure out how much money you spent last year in certain programs because PATH just doesn't have that operability. So trying to figure out how to get that kind of information out of PATH, something that seems foundational to me, is a Herculean effort. So I don't know if paper is the answer for now, but this system, I can't recall one time in my time as an elected official where somebody had anything good to say about PATH ever.
Didn't we learn that they're running on a 40-year-old mainframe down in the basement? Was that PATH that we learned out about this week, TJ?
That sounds right.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it's 2026. A 40-year-old mainframe, no wonder we can't run a program. I mean, so is the answer upgrade? I mean, I don't know if you have the answer to the question, but is this something you would be comfortable as a member of the legislature, power of the purse, investing tax dollars in to upgrade?
Yeah, without a question. I mean, it just because this isn't a glamour or vanity project. I mean, you're talking about some critically important data that impacts child welfare, family welfare. I think that this is something that we need to actively address, because it's not just a money question too. How do we do it? These are the kinds of conversations that we need to start having now. So when we actually come to the legislative session and we say, hey, this is what we're going to do, we don't want to leave open-ended. We don't want to write blank checks. We're going to say, hey, well, we want to allot this amount of money for an upgrade, but we're going to figure it out whenever. We want plans. We want plans, because accountability for dollars has been the name of the game lately. So I think we should keep in line with that.
Talking about accountability, this 3-bullet document is my understanding that came from the critical review team. Very limited information on incidents that involve children in this state, deaths of children in this state. That's disappointing, is it not?
It was unbelievably disappointing. It was hard for me to really adjust to the reality of what was going on, because when I sat down in the meeting and I was looking at the handout, I thought it was a report about the report. It was so bare bones. And some of the bullet points, I mean, kids need more mental health support. Go find me one person in this state that doesn't already know that. It was really, really lackluster. And all of this qualifying and quantifying data that we needed to explain a lot of the deaths that were reported in this form, there was a lot of important information left off, like there was suicides and there was deaths by car accident, stuff that technically may have not have happened while the child was in custody, but the report was made after the fact. That information was left out. There are no patterns here. The whole purpose of 2880 was for us to get these reports, establish patterns, notice and recognize patterns, and then build legislation that could potentially help them in the future. We can't do anything with what we have.
So let me follow up quickly. Dave, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Can we not do that? Can we not produce that? Because there's a lack of acumen in the department, a lack of ability to do that. Or in your view, respectfully to everyone at DOHS, are we being obstructionist and we don't want to provide it?
You know, I don't want to speculate as to anybody's character or the motivation as to, why this kind of stuff is happening. I very firmly believe that the competent people at DHS can produce a report to the quality and standards that we're asking for. I very firmly believe that.
Got it.
Monongalia County Delegate Geno Chiarelli joining us here in studio, fresh off the August interim committee meetings. A lot of TANF talk going into the meetings. There was talk about the TANF, whether there's a structural deficit or not in there. There seems to be. There seems to be something there that needs to be addressed. The school voucher program, Secretary Carl Ayers got grilled by your committee on Tuesday. I guess generally, what was your take? I've got thoughts, but I don't want to couch them in a question. What were your thoughts as you listened to the Secretary, as you've observed this whole conversation for the last 2 weeks?
Well, I was looking forward to it because it was the first time that I actually got to meet the Secretary in person. I heard a lot of people have a lot of really positive things to say about him. His background and experience would translate well to West Virginia, so I was glad to see him come before the committee. I feel kind of bad afterwards. Not really, but he kind of walked into a wood chipper, because we have all this pent-up frustration and all this aggression and all these questions about things that have happened over the past, couple of months or so, and he's only been here for 3 weeks. So he did his best. He seemed very knowledgeable, which was encouraging. However, the problem is that when he relayed some of the information to us, when he was explaining to us how the program works, some of the reasons why it happened the way that it did, my biggest problem was when he was explaining the reporting angle, how you're able to track the clothing voucher. Kayla was talking about it earlier. All of this money, all of these cash benefits go onto the same card. It is last in, first out type of recording. So whenever that $200 clothing voucher hits, the next $200 spent is how it's recorded, is how the clothing voucher was spent. There is no way that we can confidently say that is how these clothing voucher dollars are spent. So I know there's some federal directives and tie-ins that make it difficult for us to, completely eliminate cash options. There's a little bit of befuddlement when it comes to the bureaucratic stuff, but I feel like from what I've talked to people, and I talked to somebody from the governor's administration yesterday about this as well, I think that we're able to create independent, separate accounts for these clothing vouchers. We can put parameters on them. We can tighten it up a little bit because not one single person in the legislature wants to defend fraud. Not one. Mm-mm. Not one. I don't believe that's the case. But the big problem here, and it seems to be the recurring theme, is that people have a problem with the way that this was executed. People have a problem with the way that this whole thing happened. If there were these problems identified from the beginning, we should have heard about them. We should have known that they were coming down the line. We should have preemptively met. We didn't hear anything about it during the session. No, there was honestly no explanation towards the beginning after the 3-week delay. It's all this stuff that comes out after the fact. Well, they're buying beer and cigarettes. Okay, I know that they're able to pull cash out of here. I'm not saying there's no fraud at all, but the way that this is handled, I think, has caused a lot more problems than it needed to.
Your idea about separate cards that you brought up, I think that's a brilliant and elegant solution to this. But
I think it's a simple one.
It is. It's a simple one. It's that as well. And when those things come together, you find a sweet spot. With that said, if we don't have some kind of audit to understand the value of the fraud, and I'm not defending fraud either, but if, by example, using separate cards, I'm making up numbers, Geno, is going to cost us $2.5 million to do, yet the fraud, we think it's only $1 million in fraud. I'm sorry, the business guy in me says, okay, it's not right. I don't like it, but as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay even more than I do now.
No, I think it definitely requires the cost-benefit analysis. I think that makes sense, but it goes back to what you said earlier, that the data matters. Data is king. If we don't have accurate information, whether it's about child welfare, near fatalities or fatalities of children in state custody, whether it's about TANF dollars and where they end up, if we don't have actual real data that we can work, we can't come up with any solutions that work, fiscally responsible or not.
Monongalia County Delegate Geno Chiarelli joining us here in studio this morning. I wrote about this today. The timing of this entire episode, if you will, is curious at best, and it's terrible timing because it sets up for these extended conversations. There's nothing you can do about anything right at the moment except for delay the benefits. And who's ultimately impacted by that? Well, it's the kids and the families who rely on these things. School starts in Mon County a week from Tuesday. Schools are starting around the state. Why even bring this issue up at the end of July, early August, when there's not really anything anybody can do about it anyway at this point? I have never understood the timing of any of this conversation.
I think the timing of it really matters. I think one of the things that Secretary Ayers was talking about while he was there was people ask questions. How many are currently being processed? How many have applied? How many have been denied? Do you have any of the data for this year? And the answer was no. Not that he was unwilling to share. He just didn't have the data, but he said that he would like to return to the committee and provide that. Okay, that's great. To me, that initially would have been the opportune moment to say, hey, these are the years for fiscal year 27. This is what we've noticed. We've identified some concerning patterns. This is some of the data that we have to work with. We need to do something moving forward to clamp down so we can reduce the deficit, clamp down as much as we can, extend the program as much as we can, find savings within the program, so we don't have to ask for more money, so we don't have to jeopardize other projects that we want to work on, because we're spread thin in a lot of ways sometimes. So we need to make sure that every dollar we have is as efficient as possible.
What are the odds? Talk about the psychology of this. What are the odds that the governor's office and the governor and the legislature can finally, grill up all the beef and eat it between the parties and get rid of the egos, and maybe we can figure out a way to start working collectively on our problems? Because I don't think anyone can deny, whether it was the $600 million budget hole or whatever the issue, I mean, there's definitely tension there that is affecting practical outcomes. Is that even possible? Do you believe that we can come to some understanding, work together, or are voters going to have to step back in at some point and be the ultimate arbiter of who stays and who goes?
I want to believe the best in everybody. I tell people all the time that I'm very confident standing by my colleagues in the legislature. I believe that everybody there, most people are there for the correct reasons. However, based off of some of the things that I've seen over the past year, since Governor Morrisey took office, I'm starting to be a little bit concerned that this is a feature and not a bug. So voters ultimately have more power than anyone else. They'll decide if they like what they see or not. But I think what you said is the perfect way to describe it. They are the final arbiters, and their word and their opinions will be respected more than anyone else, whether we wanted to or not.
Monongalia County Delegate Geno Chiarelli, you had a busy summer, man. Interims, picked up a new boss over the summer as well. Congratulations, by the way.
I did. Thank you very much. Happily married. I assume it's always this good and always this easy, right? That's what everybody keeps telling.
Yeah, it's always easy.
She's wonderful. She works at Mon Health right now. She also just graduated nurse practitioner school. I'm wonderfully proud of her.
Awesome.
She's terrific. We took our first ever international trip. Well, she took her first international trip. We went to Rome. Got to meet the Pope. It was awesome.
You what?
All the good things.
Whoa, you glossed over the lead there. You what?
Yeah, we attended the Pope's general audience. He holds one every Wednesday at the Vatican if he's not traveling, and there's a special section for newlyweds. So we got there at 5 a.m. She was in a white dress. I was in the suit that I wore at our wedding, and we were hanging out with couples from Portugal and Brazil and Texas, all over the world. So the last stop before he got on the Pope Mobile and drove off is he shook hands with a number of people in the newlywed section and came over, asked us where we were from, shook our hands, and that was it.
How about that?
It was really cool.
Well, that's really cool. If I'd have known that, we would have led with that, Geno. That's called burying the lead in this business.
Stay business first. We could talk about the Pope some other time.
Hey, Geno Chiarelli, Monongalia County Delegate. Good to see you again. Glad everything's going great. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Take a break. Back in a moment. Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
The WVU Heart and Vascular Institute is recognized among the best in the nation for heart surgery. It's earned the highest 3-star rating from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons in 5 major cardiac surgery categories. Also, WVU Medicine Thomas Hospitals, Camden Clark Medical Center, and Wheeling Hospital receive top star ratings for heart surgery. Learn more about WVU Medicine's Elite Heart Program at wvumedicine.org/heart.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
With Metro News Hotline, if it's trending, football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart, only on Metro News Television.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Kanawha GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Kanawha GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
We were going to talk to Halpern, but went a little long there with Geno. So we'll catch up with Halpern maybe tomorrow. Did you catch? He was going to just slip that in and walk right out the door. Oh, I got to meet the Pope. He was just going to slip that into the conversation and just, walk right on out the door. Wouldn't go let that just slip by. Come on.
It's kind of cool that way, though. I mean, you're laying it out there, you're not bragging about it. It's what I call putting it out on the stoop, see if the cat licks it up. We licked it up.
Yeah, well, heck yeah. Wait, what? The who? 304
Pretty good start, I would think, to your marriage.
That's, of course, then we just spent the last part of the break, if you've ever been able to travel to Italy, that's one of the places I'd like to go because of the food. Geno was telling me about all the food, everything that they were eating out in Italy. I'm all in. Of course, my schedule makes it very difficult to travel for extended lengths of time, but man, that's one thing I want to do. Go over there and just eat real Italian food. Real Italian.
A real pie.
Oh, I'd be all about it. Now I'm hungry. Jake, go get me a pizza. I want a real Italian pizza, though. See if he can pull that off in the next 3 minutes. All right, coming up, we're going to open up the phones. We don't do it often. Usually when we do, we have to place rules and restrictions on them, but not today. We'll open up the phones, 800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. You can text us, 304-TALK-304. We've been talking. We had a very nice discussion the other day about flock, and within this discussion, we've really got to draw a line. Or at least I'm drawing a line. There's the discussion the serious adults are having, and then there's the other one. We'll talk about it coming up. 304-TALK-304. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It is 11:30, time for a news update. Let's check in with the Metro News Radio Network, find out what's happening all across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel right with you here on a Thursday. Still watching for 3 more days of rain and storm potential. Looking at yesterday in Charleston, we missed the rain yesterday, a break. Month to date, we're at 5.07 inches of rain for August at this point. Almost 3.5 inches above average. That 507 is our third wettest August to date on record. The year to date is below average for precip by over 3 inches. Looking at over the last 5 days, that 3.27 inches we got on Tuesday, that's one of our heavier one-day totals in the month of August. And we have flood watches out today and tomorrow for a lot of us. Find your spot on the map if you're in the green, including Charleston. Flood watches are out until 8 a.m. tomorrow, except far southern areas, the Bluefield area. I see your flood watches out until 8 a.m. today, but I'll check for updates too. As I'm still timing multiple rounds of rain for the next 3 days, that could be heavy or excessive at times. There is short-term uncertainty on the exact location of some of these rainers. We do have a marginal to slight risk for isolated to widely scattered flash flooding possible today and tonight. West in like the Cincinnati to Indianapolis area, there's a moderate risk out there. Slight risk for us expands eastward Friday into Friday night. There's also a marginal risk out west, including Huntington, of isolated severe storms that are possible. Large hail and damaging winds. Fly saver forecast, it starts at home. New York City, high of 86. Watching for potentially strong isolated severe weather out there today. For northern areas, from Panhandle to Panhandle, low to mid-80s. Some warm and humid conditions out there in the state too. Chance of showers and storms. Some 70s, low 80s up in the high elevations. Eastern Panhandle, mid to upper 80s today. Across our central areas, watching for a chance of showers and storms later this afternoon. And southern areas likely missing the morning round, but a slight chance of showers and storms. Chances off and on through about Saturday. A break on Sunday, highs near 90, and then showers and storms likely again on Monday.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Hey, I take offense to that.
Why would you do that? Because on midday, the last segment, the first thing I hear when those mics go on is you just coughing, and I'm just like, this guy. You don't appreciate me giving that show a little ratings boost at the end, a little boom boom? You coughing directly onto these microphones? No, I don't want it.
I don't know where this came from.
Everybody.
I'm in another room, guys. I don't know.
Everybody. Hey, Coop,
I'm just
what's up?
watching this.
Hotline on Metro News Television.
304-TALK, 304, the text line, 800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. What's wilder than the West Virginia Lottery's new $20 Wild Red Sevens scratch-off? Well, the chance to win 10 times your prize and a $70,000 top prize. You could go wild with all the possibilities. Pick up your Wild Red Sevens ticket at your favorite West Virginia Lottery retailer today. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. I promised you open phones. That's what we'll do now. 800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. 304-TALK. 304 is the text line. Couple of texts, though, and we'll get into some flock discussion. Guys, I totally agree. We cannot trust anything anymore. Lies, untruths, and misinformation has us all disillusioned. It makes it really hard to, it is really hard to go through life if you don't trust anybody or anything. But that's where we are as a society. We have a severe distrust in all the institutions we used to trust. If the CDC said something, you went, well, okay. If pick your agency. If it were an expert on whatever subject, TJ, a lot of times you go, you know what? That person's an expert in that field. I'll take their word for it. Not anymore. And we know when it all changed. This really, the landslide was COVID. We know that. But that's why it's important for elected officials, the bureaucrats who work within government, law enforcement, and I'm talking from the locals all the way up to state government, communication and transparency will at least go a long way in providing folks the accurate information so they can make a decision. That trust may never come back, TJ. It's going to take a long time to rebuild, but communication and transparency will go a long way. Half-truths, misinformation, and spins will not help the situation.
And if this gets me a little hate on the text line, so be it. I don't want to discount the fact we were never meant to trust the government. And what I mean by that is we were meant to be engaged. If you're in a republic, you have to be skeptical of your government. You have to question. But that also requires an understanding after those questions have been asked. And to some extent, we as a citizenry, we're a bit lazy. We don't always look into things. We take what we hear on social media as the gospel instead of doing the legwork for ourselves to understand what is and what is not true. So, there's a little bit of blame to go around. I don't discount what you're saying. The pandemic changed things. I would have thought that someone would have told Anthony Fauci that text messages are discoverable. Keep your thoughts to yourself. But apparently that didn't happen. Yeah, there we are.
Well, there's a difference, though. 100% on board with you. Engaged and question with a critical eye, right?
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and then just 100% rejecting everything because that institution's not telling me the truth. And this is kind of where I'm going with our next conversation. There's a difference there, isn't there? To be engaged and go, okay, well, let's parse this out a little bit first, rather than, well, if it's coming from this agency, it's got to be false because so-and-so's the president, or so-and-so's the governor, or so-and-so is on the county commission. Then you can't trust this information. Man, that is a tough way to live.
Why do you think, or do you think, that part of the reason we are here is that conspiracy can be monetized? It sells. It's infomercial. It's social media clicks, which translates to money. And people eat it up. So how much of that greed or that personal motivation to be able to profit off of conspiracy has brought us to where we are today?
Oh, that certainly plays a role, doesn't it? Because look, what's more interesting to talk, and that goes into, and I got a friend that's all into evolutionary psychology. He will bore you to death with hours on his, evolutionary psychology. But those things trigger things in your brain. When you hear these conspiracy theories, when you hear these, I was trying to think of an example that won't get us into trouble today, TJ, but I'm coming up empty. But when you hear those things trigger things in your brain and triggers dopamine, all these things that have you coming back for more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what doesn't trigger? Let's sit down and have a logical conversation, which we try to do most of the time, I hope. That doesn't get to the same response. But you know what does? Somebody screaming on social media for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 3 minutes, just asking the questions, he says in scare quotes. All right. I promised text messages. I need to get some more. 304-TALK, 304. But you have a point there. I think you have a point. Communication in an organization is based on the leadership setting the standards, says the texter. If the CEO is not honest, no one is permitted to be better informed or honest or empowered to speak. It's hell and fear for the employees. Dave and TJ saw a funny comic on Flock, shows some deer in the woods by a game camera. One says it's okay if you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing to worry about. Yeah, a texter sent that in yesterday as well. I laughed. I'm telling you, I thought about this more on the drive home, TJ. I'm telling you, Flock's missing out on game cams, and then you get an alert on your phone when the buck enters, where you are in the tree stand. I'm telling you, they're missing an entire segment there.
I need to look. Forgive me my ignorance. I just haven't looked. I don't know if Flock is publicly traded or not, so I don't know if the information would be available. I would love to know how much of their revenue comes from private sector customers versus government.
Oh. I'm going to.
I'll try to research that.
I say that because you would think the government contracts would be just lucrative, absolutely lucrative.
Yeah.
Speaking of Flock, some breaking news this morning. Breaking sounds very dramatic, but CNN reporting Flock rolls out new police auditing and accountability controls following surveillance concerns. I'll skip down to the meat of the article. Flock is now requiring all customers use its audit assistance tool by the end of the year. The tool flags abnormal search behavior, for example, by an individual officer. The tool could help address misuse, for example, like for the Milwaukee police officer who was on court documents who secretly used Flock to search location of his romantic partner 124 times. The company will also require users to input case numbers to justify each search, with the exception of a genuine emergency that will be automatically flagged for review. Flock says the feature was previously optional for police departments, and Flock says it must be turned on for all agencies by the end of the year. Flock is also reducing its standard data retention policy from 30 days to 7. Well, that's a big change. However, agencies can adjust that retention period based on state or local policy. The company said it's also adding an evidence mode feature that will allow agencies to preserve data longer than the retention policy allows when the search is tied to a specific case number. And the company will give local jurisdictions the option to limit how outside agencies can search the data. For example, allowing searches related to theft, but not, as you would guess in a CNN article, immigration enforcement. A lot of that sounds at least similar to what we talked to Alistair Whitney about earlier this week in the PEEPS Act that the Institute for Justice has put out there as model legislation. It also sounds very similar, and I have to go back and look at the specifics, to a lot of the policies Monongalia County Sheriff's Department has instituted with the Flock cameras. But as you have taught me, TJ, the market speaks. People will pay attention, and the market's speaking, and Flock seems to be reacting to that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of cancellations, especially in very large cities, because of these questions. So the market reacts, right? The customer is who matters, and they vote with their dollars. A couple thoughts. One has to ask, what if Flock would have went with this from the start? Would we be having these conversations? And what is that worth? In terms of, would that have cost them business or not? They wouldn't have this PR game because, there are other companies that do this, but Flock is the one taking all the heat. So how does that, play into what we're talking about here?
Let me answer your question, because it kind of leads me into what I've been teasing, draw this line, this delineation between the serious conversations regarding these automated license plate readers, the Flock cams, moving into more of a surveillance state. Yeah, we'd still be having the conversation because a couple of reasons why, TJ. Number one, there are legitimate Fourth Amendment concerns, constitutional rights. Judges have cautioned that once you start to build this network out so much, it's a whole lot different than just a snapshot in time. That's a legitimate concern. Data retention, how that data is stored, how that data is shared. That is that is our most important asset moving forward, isn't it? Our personal data. The privacy concerns, and whether or not all of these land for you, we can have these conversations. We can have very spirited conversations about it, right? But those need to be adult, in the room type conversations, and take these things seriously and consider all of the options. There is still a segment out there They're not worried about Fourth Amendment issues or your privacy or your data. This is the defund police crowd. This is the crowd that just wants to cause trouble. This is the crowd that just wants to see the system torn down. And we see that locally here in Monongalia County. I can tell you that because the people that turned out at the Monongalia County Commission meeting yesterday, they're not worried about TJ Meadows' Fourth Amendment rights. They're not worried about Dave Wilson's privacy concerns or Jake Link's data. You know what they want? They want to defund the police. You know how I know this? Because of the same people who said the same thing 6 years ago. They're not interested. And if they just want to shout as loudly as possible and think that will make them the majority. We got some really serious conversations that need to be had. I was talking to Geno about it during the break. The state lawmakers are going to have to consider. And there needs to be a differentiation between the people that want to have a real serious conversation and come to solutions and compromise and the people that just want to shout and yell, because they're never going to be satisfied, whether you have guardrails or all-out bans. Never going to be satisfied. And right now, there's a lot of them that are dominating the conversation.
Odd bedfellows need to be sorted, right? Look, it's just the way human nature works. Certain people, their word is worth more than others. And sometimes when you advocate for things that are far right, far left, whatever the political spectrum, compared to a normie, as we like to say, it's easier to take one more seriously and give them more credence than you do the other. I was trying to think of an example of this on the drive in, and I don't have a good one as it centers around the Fourth Amendment, but let me try it with the First Amendment. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I personally don't believe that, a company should go after employees for what they say, although, an employee has no First Amendment protection from an employer. It just doesn't. They just don't. You have protection from the government. With that said, you ever watch these First Amendment auditors on YouTube, Facebook? They go around, and the thing is, they're all not equal. They go around. Some of them are very honest up front about what they are doing. They're recording from a public space, and maybe they're recording what they can see on the street, or they're standing outside of a federal building or a police department. But again, they're on the sidewalk and they're filming what they can see with the eye. Let me say that is absolutely protected and legal. Absolutely is. You shouldn't be roughed up or given a hard time because you're doing that. But you watch how certain auditors interact with police when they're questioned. And you can tell that certain auditors are there to get under an officer's skin, try to induce the officer into doing something that the officer frankly should not, like arresting them or detaining them, or in hopes of trying to get a civil lawsuit and get it settled. And then there are auditors that you come up to them, they don't hem-haw around, they say, "Oh, I'm here conducting a First Amendment audit. I want to see what you're going to do. I want to educate people on the fact that they can film." Versus last week I saw one where these two guys were in Bristol, Tennessee, standing on the public sidewalk, filming Chick-fil-A, and the poor marketing director, sweet as she can be, comes out there and she's trying to be very sweet and whatever, and they're hem-hawing around with her and trying to make her look like an idiot rather than just telling her what in the world they're doing out there. So once the cops come, he explains it to the lady, and they were trying to make a fool out of her. Those are the people that want to burn it down, in my opinion, versus the people who are trying to educate and make a point and be serious and protect our civil rights and the Bill of Rights. And I do think there is a distinction to be made between the two.
Do we agree? I think we agree.
Alistair
Whitney is a great, go back to what we talked about the first time. Alistair Whitney is a great spokesman and laid out a very convincing case with very real concerns, offered solutions, said, hey, there might be some problems. I thought he did a great job. I thought that was a great conversation. The people that show up and just shout and then spew misinformation, this is what we're talking about, right? Who just want to be a problem. It makes it hard to have that conversation, doesn't it? When those people become the face of something that deserves real attention, a real serious, thoughtful conversation. It becomes hard.
My papa always told me, never argue with a drunk or a fool. He was right then, he's right now, and I would add, never argue with a drunk, a fool, or someone who does not value civility. Because if you do not value civility, you will never find resolution. You just won't. You're there to burn it down, to your point. And we've got a lot of that. And you have to separate wheat from chaff. And I don't know how in the world you do it other than be aware of it and understand who's trying to do what and what their ultimate goal is. Back to the First Amendment, guys. If you're trying to grow a YouTube channel and get 1 million views and monetize it, you may be doing more than just trying to protect your First Amendment right. Two things can be true at the same time, but it is what it is.
Couple of texts, 304 Talk 304. Dave and TJ, you all are perfect marks for propaganda. Is this conspiracy stuff just for clicks and money? This is the distraction the oligarchs want. Investigate instead why Trump, Vance, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, the entire rupees, I see what you did there. Republican Party relentlessly attack all sources of credible information. It's the oldest in the book. The goal is to have you question truth so you will easily believe their lies. We're the ones ripe for propaganda. News flags 8-point buck arrested by authorities for vandalizing game cam. Seriously, though, this whole thing is starting to get ridiculous, says Noel. What I'm understanding about people who support flock is they don't care about consent, which is pretty alarming because consent is an integral concept in human interaction. I think that's a broad generalization there. Again, conversation that involves serious thought and consideration of all angles to try to come to some resolution that is constitutional, protects privacy rights, and gets criminals off the street. Let's not forget, the goal here is to put the bad guys in jail. At least that's my goal. All right. More text coming up, 304 Talk 304. That's the text line, 800-765-8255. The phone number. CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet is probably right at your front door. Now's the perfect time to connect. Local customer support you can trust. Fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, citynet.net connects, protects, and perfects. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Picture a community where every space tells a story. Those are the communities we're designing at ZMM Architects and Engineers. With a blend of creativity and technical expertise, we design spaces that inspire, innovate, and ignite change. From cutting-edge educational facilities to community-centric gathering spaces, we're committed to improving lives through design. Let us help you shape a brighter future for generations to come. Because at ZMM, it's more than architecture. It's about building your legacy.
Approach your retirement with confidence. With over 150 years of combined experience, the advisors of the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group provide advice and wealth management strategies to individuals, families, small businesses, professional offices, and institutions. With the Stike team, you'll have access to an advising team with extensive resources, a client-first mindset, and a passion for helping transform the lives of those we serve. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike today and join the team that's dedicated to your success.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniels Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
For over 20 years, Kanawha Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Kanawha Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Couple more texts, 304 Talk 304. What's wilder than the West Virginia Lottery's new $20 Wild Red Sevens scratch-off? The chance to win 10 times your prize and a $70,000 top prize. You could go wild with all the possibilities. Pick up your Wild Red Sevens ticket at your favorite West Virginia Lottery retailer today. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Texter says, Granny always said never argue with a fool. A bystander cannot tell the difference. On point. Granny might have been watching this show. 304 Talk 304. You're both right on point. Some people just want to be against everything just to say, look at me. Pointless nonsense. Free speech absolutist? Bet you won't say they are. No, I'm not going to say that on the air. No, I'm not.
Look, here's what you don't get. Free speech absolutist means if you own a radio station and a platform, you can say whatever the heck you want until the FCC jerks you off the air. It doesn't give you the right to take over someone else's platform that you don't own. So go on your Facebook page and say whatever you want to say.
By the way, it's not the FCC I'm particularly worried about, by the way.
Well, yeah.
It's the guy 2 floors up.
Yeah.
Oh, but well said. Dave, you seem to forget those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety. Quote Benjamin Franklin, shame on you, says the texter. Can remember about 3 years ago when Jen Psaki left the Biden press secretary job and went to MSNBC, and the right went ballistic. Can't wait for Caroline Leavitt to sign with Fox in the next 2 weeks, and no one says a word, says the texter. Liberal Democrats and progressives saying that conservative Republicans spread myths truths. Those of us in the middle who have fully functional short-term memories give full credit to the let's go Brandon lesson that the left taught the right.
Haven't heard that in a while. Let's go Brandon.
Don't argue with an idiot. They will bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. Y'all are on point today.
Papa used to say, never argue with a drunk or a fool. Which one are you?
304 Talk. Which one are you? Well done. So sailors are jumping off the aircraft carrier in the Strait because they've been out there so long, and now another aircraft carrier is going to replace them. Is this winning? Am I supposed to believe this is progress toward victory over Iran? We talked about, we're going to try to get somebody on that subject. TJ, we talked about that in the pre-show meeting, and of course we got 3 minutes left today, but we're going to get into that subject because was the USS Abraham Lincoln has been at sea for 13 months, I think.
Yeah, extraordinary amount of time. No carrier has been at sea this long. There's not only reports of people going, stir crazy and making these attempts, lack of provisions on the ship, inadequate maintenance that needs to be done in port, can't be done, no hot water as a result. So reaching out to some of our Navy friends, we've had a 2-star, a 3-star on the show before, see if they can come on and shed some light. We'll see.
Texter says, communication is key. We are all public servants and owe the public transparency, accountability, and communication. That's what we as legislators want, so we can then communicate with our constituents, says the texter. Amen, brother. You're right on about what's going on in Monongalia County. 304 Talk 304. Can serious cancel culture freaks, Dave and TJ? Did I get that right? I don't think I said that right, did I?
Censorious. I think they're saying we're into censorship, maybe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm a big time censor.
I'm going to have to go
that's me.
I'm going to have to go get my dictionary out. Learned a new word today. How tough is it? 13 months? Oh, 13 months is a long time to be out on the ocean.
Tell you what, you go out on a ship for 13 months and not make land, and then you tell me.
I get tired of 60 days in Charleston. And I'm not even there the full 60 days. It's like, what? What are we there, 30 days? Boy, that's not far away.
You know, I learned the Australian Navy, you know, because beer is a big thing in Australia. They actually give their sailors, beer rations.
Really?
They get beer on
Foster's,
ships. Yeah.
I presume.
I don't know. I think it's something like 1 or 2 cans a day, so you can have it with lunch or dinner or whatever. I mean, you know, nothing's going to get you lit, but they actually give them beer.
Coming up, Metro News Midday on many of these same Metro News radio stations. Dave and Amanda. Michelle Blatt, State School Superintendent, is going to join the show a little bit later on this afternoon. Follow the news of the day over at the website, wvmetronews.com. We'll be back tomorrow. Chris Tyrewalt's scheduled to be back from vacation. We'll see what's on his mind after a week of rest and relaxation. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 10:06. For the crew, producer Ethan, intern Mila, Jake, and TJ, I'm Dave. Talk to you tomorrow morning, 10:06. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.